What? What? What is he doing? Hello everyone, welcome to match number 2 of the Nations Cup. Today we are going to see Ukraine versus Greece. And as I promised you yesterday, today I'm not doing this alone. I have two insane guys here with me, Birdo Burrito and Wildescars. Guys, how are you doing?
I'm doing great. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, doing well.
Cool. Yeah, really cool to have you here. Thanks a lot again. So, I expect you both watched yesterday's match, right?
Yeah.
Of course.
What are you saying about it? Really surprising, wasn't it?
Super close.
Super
I didn't
close.
think I didn't think the first match was gonna go to game 5, so that was insane.
We also saw a lot of Alpine. Do you expect this too today, or what are you expecting here from Ukraine and Greece?
I would say so, yes. It seems fairly clear of a choice for pure war because you're definitely going to need some extra card draw, and Alpine without the orders, and Alpine is already pretty good at that. The other option that they might be thinking of would be like a USA deck with Shermans.
Yeah, I also saw. Honestly, I expected a little bit more US since there's the Sherman and all these bounce cards like the half track. But looked like the teams and decided to go Alpine here. So I'm really looking forward, or I'm excited to see if the players are bringing Alpine again, or if there's already something going on and teams are preparing to counter Alpine. So that's also what I expected, at least tomorrow or the day after. If we see a lot of Alpine today, maybe teams are preparing anti-Alpine deck and decks. And I think that US deck, as we saw yesterday, should not be too bad against Alpine, right?
Yeah, with all the bounce and yeah, just able to bounce. And I feel like what played a really crucial role, especially in game 1, was the death from aboves. That just completely I feel like it taking out any Alpine unit is just good because that's one less unit for get the +1/+1. So US was definitely a very strong pick here against the Alpine, which again everyone's kind of playing Alpine right now from the new O Beach buff, which is kind of insane, honestly.
The one thing that I'm concerned about is I feel like USA doesn't have many ways to deal with a turn one Gebirgs Pioneer. Um, so if an Alpine deck goes first or even second with that against USA deck, I think they'll be in for a tough time.
Yeah, might be. Especially because, yeah, that card is just so strong in general. And if you don't
Yeah.
have early answers, opponent might get an uncatchable lead. One thing I realized, did I introduce you by name or did I just say two insane guys?
No, you didn't introduce my name.
Did
At
or
least
did
that's
not?
what I remember. Did.
Yeah, you said our
Okay,
username.
yeah, not that I screw that one up. All right, yeah, let's take a look at the groups first of all. So yesterday we saw France winning 3-2 against Germany. So the team that is going to win now will also have one win, and for the two other teams that are losing today, might already be some pressure to win the next match. But Berto, you being part of Team Canada, what are you saying about Group B? Do you think Canada has chances to advance to the semifinals?
Well, of course. I mean, I
What
mean,
else should
every
you say, right?
team has a chance to advance. And I mean, I think Canada's roster looks pretty impressive if you look at like the placements of J King, myself, and Comtrues.
I agree, yeah.
So I think we're certainly in a good spot.
But yeah, as we saw yesterday, anything can happen. I mean, Germany was also the big favorite yesterday, and we all saw what happened. So maybe we even see Russia proceeding to the semifinals. I think that would be just insane.
Biggest upset around here. Like, I mean, all I see here, China, USA, and Canada is very, very powerful teams here. Just all full of top placing players. So a lot of pressure, I feel like, on Russia right now. But like you said, anything can happen. Upsets out of nowhere.
Absolutely. So let's take a look at today's teams. Unfortunately, guys, sorry. I did not find the time to do these nice player profiles. So we have to live with this today here. For Ukraine, we have Mr. Kowalski, Vadim, and Herr Panpan. I guess, so both teams today are new to the Nations Cup, so all players have zero experience in this format. But let me give you the highest finishes of these players. So we have at least a direction which team might be favored here or not. So Kowalski has a top 10 finish. Vadim, rank 81, and I think Herr Panpan might be a new player because he's not having a finish in the Officers Club, I guess. And then we take a look at Greece. For Greece today are playing Kowalski. We all know him for his nice analysis. For those who don't know, check out Kowalski minus analysis. Is it .com, I guess? He has a rank 25 finish. Then we have Zilder with a top 12 highest finish, and Dodos ranks 3177. So I expect him to be also more like new player, or he's just grinding to Officers Club and then leaving the game alone. These are the two possibilities here. Yeah, guys, just hearing those numbers, what do you think? Who's the favorite here today?
Well, I think that Kowalski has been conspiring with his teammates and doing a lot of planning, a lot of deck building. So I would give the edge to Greece because I feel like if anyone would be doing their prep work, it would be Kowalski.
Okay.
I definitely agree. Based on stats alone, I do have to give the edge to Greece. Just having more players that have more notable rankings and placements. But again, like we get an upset here. That's always hype to watch. I'm excited to see what happens. So, but as it stands right now, I'd give my money to Greece.
Right. We will see how it ends. Trying to give the player the go here. So the first match will be Kowalski versus Kowalski. So both team captains here fighting first match against each other.
Get it going right away. Not holding anything back.
Showing some dominance here.
I like it.
I also like that spectator mode so much. Oh, this is making things so much easier. Just have
It looks clean.
One click and you're in the battle.
So, Berto, besides Alpine, are there any other decks you're expecting to see here in this? Oh, and we're starting. But yeah, any other decks that just might come to mind that might just pop up?
Well, Singleton, Britain main is always very strong because they just have so many high power elites. Here in the Pauper match, seeing Artie is interesting.
That's definitely an interesting pick for I didn't think I was gonna see Artie here, so let's see what Kowalski.
It does make a lot of sense. Like the base concept like works well without, some of the more high roll elements, like the turn 1 Cossacks and that sort of thing.
And like right here, the war production already having 2 artilleries established very early in the game.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll see here. How does he spend his turn here?
Probably. Okay.
He goes Greyhound.
Who's having the advantage here deck-wise? Is it Kowalski or Kowalski?
I think Kowalski.
Yeah, right.
Because Kowalski has so many like tanks, it seems like, and the anti-tank gun is just going to farm value.
Especially doing extra damage to tanks here. Look, the flam pounds are just getting traded away like it's nothing.
Yeah. And maybe if okay, the Greyhound is interesting. He can kill one, but then it's traded back right away. Or he can move up an infantry to try to stick it for Sherman. He's gonna move up and just take the trade while he can. A little bit safer, I suppose.
Yeah, you really gotta watch out for like the patriotic firestorm. He doesn't have to worry about Ura in this case because they're Aura being a special, but still with just with patriotic firestorm alone, they can get out of control very quickly.
Yeah, for sure. I'd be interested to know how many patriotic firestorms Kabalsnik is running because it did get nerfed pretty heavily, doubling its credit cost.
That is very true. And if you end up with a handful of them, then that can almost certainly cause you to just lose the match at times.
Ooh, but these are some very good draws here. He's
So,
going to have unlimited cards.
oh, there's one.
Yeah, it's a little awkward here because he wanted to use the war production and
And that,
like just flood, but he'll probably just wait a turn. But it is giving the opportunity for Kowalski to draw, which is quite scary.
now this artillery I'm noticing here, and wow, I was gonna say just the Kowalski stamp, but now seeing Kowalski drawing it as well, the 37 millimeter, the I believe it's the 1 through Blitz, the U.S. artillery. I That wasn't really seen a lot back in the when artillery was meta. Was it even out? I don't remember, but it's certainly an interesting pick because not only does it have Blitz, but the ability to restart the attack of a unit. Do you think that has some sort of play, like being able to remove the buffs off units to keep them back?
Um, it
Or do,
is interesting. I'm not sure how valuable that effect will be. Like, it's a lot harder to say when you're looking at Pauper compared to like a standard format where like you know
yeah,
what cards people are going to be running in different meta decks. But I am surprised Kobalsnik went for the caddy high roll there. He could have been quite a bit safer if he used the Patriotic Firestorm, and he could have gotten some more units out on the board as well, casting the War Production after. It's a little bit risky uh, holding on to the Patriotic Firestorm and the War Production because you can always top deck another War Production or an Ura, and then your hand gets so much more awkward
yeah.
versus cashing in now.
Oh, oh, here we go. Here we see it using. Probably thinking what you're saying right now. Before he's able to draw another one, just get the juice that he can out of him and establish a very strong board here, which that he has done. Oh, a sudden strike. Being able to take out either the Katusha or the Greyhound here.
If Kowalski had that sudden strike on turn two, he would probably be winning right now by a hefty margin because those anti-tank guns did so much in the early game, but he just didn't have it then, which is definitely unfortunate for him. And I'm sure he was thinking about it.
Just
I
hoping
put
he
sudden
top deck
strikes in
them.
my deck for this, and
Where
where
are
are
they?
they? Yeah.
Okay. So not choosing to not take the front line at this moment.
He did trade with it, right? Yeah, he traded
Yeah,
into the tank.
yeah,
So he has no way to take the front line. Well, oh, he could have. Yeah, he could have sudden striked
the
the.
Greyhound. They moved the first Marines. So we'll see what kind of cards Kolbosniks here are able to pick up with the supply chains.
He knows that before Kobalsnik played the supply chain, um, four of the cards in his hand were supply chain at the start of this turn, and Ura will not buff his artillery on the board. So,
Well, Kolbosnik won't even have Ura right now because that's a special, no?
oh, right, right, very true. What I was just sort of trying to get at is that this is a very safe play. Like, it's very unlikely for Kowalski to be able to deal with his infantry at this moment.
Yeah, no, because look at this. And getting both Shermans off. Very strong turn. And I don't think he would have attacked HQ, but even if he wanted to, unable to because of the effect protecting the HQ with smokescreen.
Ooh.
Katusha with promotion. That's always scary.
Now that's something I haven't seen before. Just
Going
gonna run
wide
out
here.
both anti-tank guns. It makes sense when your opponent just builds into Shermans. Even though the Shermans are able to trade, they're of course taking a lot of damage doing so and spending a lot of credits. The sudden strike is definitely going to be huge, saves a lot of credits, and just helps out a ton. He's going to leave the anti-tank gun up.
That's interesting.
Yeah. It seems a little bit odd because of the ambush, but I mean, at this point it looks like he'll be able to manage just fine.
Seeing the hand here, yeah. I don't think the half trek in Kowalski's hand is going to be seeing a lot of use here.
Probably not, no.
And there it is, a powerful 3 Constitutions. Oh, and he's saving up his draw here because passed on 6 credits here. Probably thinking he can use them on a bigger board.
Well, he wants to have a opportunity to effectively use the what's the card that buffs his backline? How Patriotic Firestorm. He's looking for an opportunity to use that card without just like discarding it to get the extra draw. But he's not completely out of it because again, he does have a lot of draw. He's oh man, a lot of draw. He has hit his
Even more draw.
yeah, he has hit his spells in pretty good order.
Yeah, it
Or
is sad
orders
when
in pretty good order, I should say.
you just don't trust in the supply chain and you're just completely choked out in terms of draw. So, but here, what are we gonna see from Kowalski? What the play I'm seeing is the Patriotic Firestorm to trade into this Panzer IV here, because that is a big unit that, if left unchecked, is gonna be able to trade into a lot of units, and well, with that big 5/5 body. And
Yeah.
I forgot to mention that he was able to retreat the really buff 3/4 Katusha, essentially like just negating that buff that it got from promotion. Whoa, and look at this, the draw's coming in.
Ooh.
There it is. Yep, the trade into the
It's
Panzer IV.
it's unfortunate, but I think Kowalski did have to go for that.
Oh yeah, and another Sherman. Wonder when see all 4 Shermans get the draw use. Though we can do it, really making these units hard to remove. Man,
And now it's at a point where it seems like Kopalsnik is just going to have his artillery farmed for the rest of the game. With the high HP units, he has enough cards to just keep throwing stuff at him. And he can only have one more Patriotic Firestorm in his deck.
Yeah, that's what I wanted to mention. Usually with artillery, at some point you have to decide to stop trading and go face HQ, because otherwise you don't have enough damage to kill your opponent. And I think we are almost at that point, right? Where
almost, if
Kowalski
not
is
already there.
Yeah, I think so.
There's 23 health on the HQ.
How many cards?
very
He's having
difficult.
11 cards left in his deck.
And again, with that, we can do it. Just adding so much more health onto the board that Kowalski's gonna have to deal with. So it's looking a little tough for him, that's for sure. He came in with Patriotic Firestorm as his only buff card, which like a lamb to slaughter. I love the emotes you don't see very often.
He does have a fair few Blitz and Smokescreen artillery. It won't be enough with just one Patriotic Firestorm, but I don't know, is there some sort of buff that we don't see that I'm not thinking of
That's what I'm
that
thinking.
he
But
could run? Because
the
he
only other
needs...
buffs that come to mind are the ones that only affect infantry for the Soviets.
Yeah, because with if all he has for buffs is just another Patriotic Firestorm, then I don't think there's any way out of this game except for
I,
maybe Kowalski disconnecting.
especially now with another, we can do it.
Oh, and the Nebelwerfer will also kill one of his smokescreen, which is not what you
No,
want to see.
this is looking very unfortunate. He's running to his last couple cards, and there are just artilleries that unfortunately don't have the biggest, the largest amount of health. So,
Yeah, he's down to 2 cards now.
oh jeez, yeah, and 2 cards. I'm not entirely sure how he's gonna make it back from here. And
I
when
think
one of those
he's
2
I think
cards
he's
is a
just looking to
lesser.
check what's left. Oh,
Oh, and the last card was the patriotic he needed. Okay, he's just gonna have to bet it all right here. Let's see how much damage he's able to cough out.
Well,
Not enough, I guess.
I mean, you
Not
you
enough.
can do the math. So he has 5 damage on board. He can play an Artie with 2 attack and then give all of them +3. So that would be... Oh, now I have to start doing math again because of the Nebelwerfer. Oh
Nah, it's
god.
over.
Yeah, we'll just leave it at
Just
not enough.
surrender, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't. I just fade away. I'm jealous of these taunts or these emotes. But here
So,
we go. First game going to
nice.
Greece.
No, you... Oh yeah, it was Greece. Yeah, you're
Greece.
correct. I was a little bit confused. So, yeah, Greece taking the lead here. As you expected, Greece maybe a little bit favored. What are you saying about the matchups? Kowalski, I think he had good chances to win here, but what happened?
So when you don't have so many AoE buffs with the Artie deck, which, like, I mean, sometimes happens just like in regular play. Like sometimes you need to discard a Ura or something, and you're in that situation. You really need to just keep trading effectively and not let your opponent ever get a handle on the board, especially when they have things like We Can Do It, which just like scale in value the more stuff that they have on the board, and you aren't scaling in that way.
I also
So
think. Oh,
yeah.
sorry. I also think that it's Kowalski, right? And Kowalski just kind of, although it was a bit later in the match, I'm probably pretty sure he'd wanted his removal cards a bit sooner, but he still eventually got them, and he was able to just not let him get the early establishment. In terms of artillery, he was able to take out with the Flampanzer and the sudden strikes, able to take out those low cost artillery, and I feel like that also had a huge factor in this.
I think it just to sort of simplify, in this matchup, if somebody starts chaining Shermans, then Artie has lost.
Yeah,
It's not a,
that looked really
it's not a
scary.
good day for you
Yeah.
if your opponent's chaining Shermans.
So next match will be Zilda versus Pan for Ukraine.
Now Zelda, I know, is a very, very powerful opponent. I think
Next
I've run
round
into
is
him a few
standard
times.
format. We just completely forgot to mention. I mean, we saw it on the right in the match that the first round was pauper format, so there has been no specials or leads allowed. And the next round will be standard format, so players can use whatever deck they want.
It'd be fun to see just, what the players can do with no limitations. Just go at it. Which, let's see. I'm calling. I'm expecting at least an Alpine deck here. I don't know from who, but we're seeing. I'm confident there's gonna be at least an Alpine deck.
Yeah, I'd be surprised if there wasn't at least one. I mean, what you see on the ladder nowadays is
Yeah.
mostly either Alpine or people trying to counter Alpine. So
But then they lose heart to anything else.
Yeah, the difference one artillery can make, right?
Very. And it's insane. Just the single change to one card and
Is it also because
nah.
Fast Heinz was nerfed, maybe? Is it not just Obich, is it both?
I feel well. There was that is true. But I feel like you're right. I think it's got overlooked that Fast Heinz got nerfed. I think everyone just saw Beach buff and whoa, let's go Alpine. Didn't even stop to consider that. Oh, that was funny. Quick little thing. I was playing on ladder and this guy played HMS and then into for the Emperor, realizing that didn't realize that it was changed. Then he just surrendered immediately. Just that. So I guess some people are just unaware of the changes in cards.
Yeah, that's I think what people are overlooking mostly. They're just focusing on what cards got changed and what deck might influence this, and suddenly another deck is rising, and they're not seeing that because deck that, like we had with the artillery deck got nerfed, got out of the meta, and suddenly Fast Heinz came back. So it was not only the fact that some cards just got good with it, but because artillery was gone, and that was very good against Fast Heinz because these anti-tank guns have been really good against the tanks, and suddenly we had a Fast Heinz meta again. And I think there's so much stuff that you have to think about, and when you oh wait.
Oh yeah, because I feel like everyone just thinks what makes a good deck good in the meta is just its own cards, but you also got to take into consideration what are the other good cards, as you mentioned.
Yeah. Second. Yeah, Zelda had some problems with sharing his OBS link. But I think it should work now. So we should have views from both.
It'd be funny. Both the players go Alpine. It's gonna be a race of who goes first and who gets better top decks.
yeah. One other thing to consider in the Alpine mirror is how much fast removal you have, like Brew the Breach. Because
Yeah.
like Brew the Breach allows you to go second and win the game in the mirror match.
Oh yeah, and I'll tell you from experience that is very true. I've lost matches that way. And here we go. We're starting up.
But if you're
We're
playing against sorry to interrupt. If
and
you're
we're
playing
artillery again. Sorry, I'm not.
So we
okay.
changed from Alpine Nations Cup to Artillery Nations Cup now.
Artillery nations.
Oh,
You
and
Oh,
Zelda is
and is
bringing
that
Fast Heinz.
Heinz?
Times. Oh man.
Did we not talk about
I
counters?
was so confident to see Alpine, but it's like a trip through memory lane here.
Yeah. What season is this?
Wow. I hope for the best for Zelda here, but we'll see what I can do. Especially because I feel this matchup here that we're about to see, the change to it just I feel like really also hinders. It's gonna hinder it a lot. Only getting 2 credits once per turn instead of just continuously stacking.
Zelda sitting on 2 Flumpanzers.
That
Those
is
are
true.
definitely helpful. And he will eventually be able to deal with the anti-tank gun with his Jagd bomber that he drew. But it's a ways away, and he has very few cards, and Pun Pun has caught a lot.
Yeah, I want to mention
especially
he's
with the
having a lot
lesser.
of draw, but it's just turn 3. And I think for him it would be better to have units in hand, right? To not lose board control, because once you are behind and your opponent is having a front line full of units, yeah, I think your artilleries cannot do that much without any periodic firestorms and stuff like that.
I do not like going for the damage there from Zelda. I think against the artillery deck, you're going to have to win on trading. I would have liked to have seen him just like keep that smoke screened, and then you always have the threat that if he attacks with the anti-air gun, then you're going to be able to kill that, that sort of thing. Or if he gets fast Heinz, some other sort of buff, then he would be able to trade into an anti-tank gun.
No, yeah. Just the
versus
bounce here.
dealing 1 damage.
Yeah, I know. The 1 damage it just never feels good attacking with a unbuffed Panzer II. Just the 1 damage, just I feel like your credit could be used better elsewhere. But here we're seeing just him kind of slowly going through these supply chains, just slowly pushing. It's still quite early in the game. Yeah, second Flam Panzer coming out from Zelda.
Yeah,
Chose to take
really
out
big turn.
he chose to take out the anti-air gun, leaving in the anti-tank. But I feel like this was the right call.
Also
'Cause
helpful that
now,
he's now having an infantry in the front line, right? Because
yes,
it's 3 health. Oh, the Katyusha needs a double row. Oh, that's
get it.
also fun.
Unfortunately, not.
He does have the sickles, which is helpful. If he trades into a Flampanzer and uses a sickle on the 99th in the front line, then he wouldn't be able to kill his Katyusha for free. But with this line, the Flampanzer is going to kill the Caddy. Or maybe he'll use the Whirlwind.
Need to know here that these units that are about to move up to the front line are also about to get buffed by these engineers. Oh, and just continue to bounce.
That's interesting.
I mean, that Yak Bomber can deal with another artillery then. If he would have played the Whirlwind, he would have just had another tank on board. That would be easy food for these anti-tank guns.
Yeah, I feel like it's maybe a little higher risk, but it is also a higher reward, and Pun Pun isn't really going to have great answers here. We'll see if Zelda can convert his tempo into a win. Oh, that's a huge draw to resupply his hand.
Although Zelda doesn't know this, but Poon Poon not having any sickles to be able to check the pioneers. So just this is a very, very
Oh,
strong.
wow. We can do it is also huge.
That's scary. If he doesn't take care of these units, like right now, it's he's gonna pay for it. Which unfortunately, I'm not seeing too many ways of doing it because he doesn't have any
Probably
infantry
has
to
to.
blitz.
He probably has to play the anti-air gun and the Ziz and kill the Whirlwind and his 22nd in the backline. But he's still just having his units traded into for free afterwards. So it feels very much like putting a band-aid on. Oh,
Oh,
wait.
yeah. Okay, he only had 1 credit. That makes
Oh,
more
oh
sense.
yeah, my bad, my bad. Miscounted.
But I'm expecting to see that we can do it right here. Oh, even gonna drop the Befehlswagen. Be able to
Yeah,
get
he can afford to do it. Has just enough credits.
At least we can
credit
do it,
off.
really making the difference today, huh?
It really is showing how strong it is in the popper and just regular play.
Although, to be fair, it's sort of turning winning positions into completely won positions.
That's true.
Because if Zelda didn't
Winning
have the week to
harder.
do it here,
I,
he's still in a very good spot. But
I like
you
to
could
call it
see a way
winning
in which he
harder.
loses. Yeah.
It's just this jack bomber body being a 5/7. It's gonna take a lot of trading. Well, not necessarily trading them being artilleries, but still.
Fun Fun
I
is fortunate to keep finding Zizzes so that he can try to contest the board.
Yeah, give him another unit. Being able to attack with 2 units, or essentially, yeah, having blitz, very powerful.
And he does have some AoE buffs. Like, you could see a situation where he can bring the board back to around even with like a Katyusha or something, but it is very unlikely.
Ooh, wasn't that kind of gambling here? Just looking for the sudden strike? Not going for killing 2 artilleries here for sure.
Well, he still would have been able. Yeah, no, you're right. Yeah, he wouldn't have been able to because of the.
He did not find it. He could only trade 1 artillery
Yeah,
away.
yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, I forgot to consider the increased operation cost on the Jagd bomber. So
But
you
he's
are
probably
definitely
also
right there.
playing the Naval so I think he figured out that he has maybe 4, 5, 6 options there that could deal with that artillery, and then just going for it with 3 cards to pick from your deck.
Yeah.
And 6 options is not too unlikely that you find a good one.
Yeah, and there can also be options that like don't kill that unit, but
I believe that's
would
game with
still be
that
helpful.
Cadet Norse, no?
Yeah.
'Cause-
Oh, absolutely.
Yep.
Maybe that's one of the cards he was thinking of. Would that have been lethal the previous turn as well? I'm not sure. I think so.
So
Here we go, Zelda.
Zilder winning against her Pun taking the 2-0 lead here for Greece. Wow.
Yeah, looking very scary.
Looks like artillery is not the best choice here today.
Yeah, not looking so hot right now. That's for sure. So now we have what, the pure war format, correct?
Next one is pure war, yeah. So do we see Alpine this time, or?
Oh, I'm looking for a Leopold versus Leopold battle again today.
Oh, that was intense yesterday, right?
Just back and forth.
Let me update the score first.
I'll be honest, I am not familiar with this format. Well, in terms of what's good and what's not, because the only exposure I've had to it was yesterday's match. So this is definitely, I feel like, new to some players as well, which I'm sure they've been working some ideas, some decks out and prep for this, but overall I still feel like it's a very new format that people are learning from.
My overall impression is that it's just not possible to play control without
Oh,
any orders. So I I expect to see similar sorts of matchups, even if we like see different decks in terms of like aggro or slash mid range, like going at each other and
oh, I
trying
agree.
to wrestle control of the front line whole game.
I love playing control, and yeah, it just seems like you're not playing control. So I my first impression when I hear this format, I get the impression of like just aggro decks. Like maybe not, I don't know. I feel like even Fast Hinds, but they'd have to actually, but they can't even buff their units. Man, I don't know. Again, this is format very new. Man, hey, but it keeps things interesting. That's what I love.
Yeah, I was also not sure what to think about it, because units with deployment effects are really, really strong in this format, right? And units that, especially also artillery, like the Leopold or the Obice, can be really hard to deal with, as we saw yesterday, when you don't have orders. You can only have, with the German deck, you only have another Leopold or the Jagdbomber. You can just bounce it, or stuff like Comet, that was also helpful. And I think for Wild Eyes it was the Panzer 3L, right, that helped him kill the Leopold of his opponent there. So I'm excited to see if we just see a German mirror here, or if people just thought, what would be good against German Alpine in pure war format.
That's it.
Yeah, I think I also thought that the US German deck can also be strong in that. You can have an aggressive component and get a draw from the Shermans, have the Blitz tank with the Hellcat to get rid of opponent's Leopold, for example, or any other front support line unit. So I thought that would be also a nice option.
That's very true. 'Cause in this format, I see it very difficult to be able to get any sort of draw. Because for most nations, for them to draw without orders, it's very niche. For example, with Germany, they'd probably have to run Pioneers, but that unit only has 1 health. It's very easy to just throw something at it. Oh, but yet again, there's no orders. Man, this format, I'm just excited to see what's gonna happen. I keep contradicting myself.
One thing that keeps coming into my mind is, will anybody have the strength of will to flex hard enough to put the British 04 Elite Pioneer into their deck in pure war?
Just a flex.
Yeah.
I mean, just as a... Oh, we are already in the match here.
Oh, geez, let's get into it. Oh, nice. That'd be funny. A Commonwealth deck without the Commonwealth.
With pretty much no ways to heal either.
Just
I mean, you have the honey. But...
yeah, the 1 health looks here. You can't draw more. What's it? The Crusader won't do anything.
Oh my lord, this is
The-
this is a crazy
Alpine
hand for
versus
Kowalski.
USA. Yeah, unfortunately, we
But
did not have Dodo's hand here.
So I'm seeing here a mix of Alpine and
Ooh.
Fast Hinds. This should be wow. So strong start here. Already whipping out the Greif.
Ah, look,
Wow.
This is-
Wow.
Dodo's hand here.
This is
Oh, there
just
we go.
about as good as you could hope for Kowalski. Looks like Ukraine might be able to get a win.
It's looking really strong. That M7 priest, it's gonna be really tough to get its effect.
Yeah. Dodos's deck is built around controlling the front line, and there's no way for you to do that against a start like this.
I will say though, because Kolbosnik is running off top decks now though.
Yes, he is.
Because
What
drawing
is
right
that
now.
board? Turn 3?
Yeah. This seems a little odd from Kowalski because he had 5 credits, and his Panzer III F has Blitz, so he could have gotten the value trade into the Tutri. And, you know, without board clears in the format, that's pretty safe to do, just to take. So I feel like he is letting Dodo squeeze value out of him here, but
I mean, with that board.
it's still hard. Yeah, it's still
Yeah.
hard to lose from this spot.
No, and he's getting 2 additional credits every turn at the moment, which
Yeah.
kind of insane.
Yeah,
very
he's
early on.
getting out of
Oh,
cards faster than he's getting out of credits, huh?
yeah. Oh boy. I wonder if he's gonna trade or go face here. Choosing to go face.
No, he knows the place.
He knows that Dodos is very on the back foot right here.
And yeah, Dodos has decent trades, but it's probably just not going to be fast enough. He can survive for at least 1 more turn, though.
Yeah. Prevent it. Just gonna fool the board a bit more here. At least with what he can.
Yeah.
Oh, flan pan.
Oh.
Yeah. Oh, jeez. See the
Yeah, does he fear the credits more, or does he fear the just straight
Looks-
damage more? Looks
he
like the
fears
credits. Which is fair in a format with no orders. He doesn't move up his 1/1. I find that odd.
I would just try to control the front line.
Yeah, now he's able to bounce.
Ooh.
He would have won the game this turn if he had moved up.
Yeah.
Do you see Dodo's coming back here?
Possible. A few mistakes have been made, but he needs a top deck here.
Oh yeah, now for sure. And this is not
And
one
that's
And that is not it.
Not what you want to see. So, see Ukraine taking a win.
Yeah, on the board.
There's the surrender.
First win for Team Ukraine. Fighting back, not giving up with any resistance here.
That
Yeah.
start was just way too powerful.
Yeah, I do think Dodo's played as well as he could, and he wrestled back some control, but it was just too fast.
Yeah, he just couldn't handle that.
Did he have two of the Gebirgs Pioneers?
Yes, two of them.
He had them both on board. That was
That is an
way too
insane
many
start
credits
for
that
sure.
early. One is already pretty powerful. You get two, it's from there. Just enjoy the ride.
And that's one of the reasons why Alpine is so strong in this pure war format, because I mean, you don't have any one cost orders to deal with those Gebirgs Pioneers.
I mean,
Yeah.
you don't have any orders to remove any of the Alpine units.
Yeah.
So we're seeing match 4 here. Match 4 is Singleton. Singleton means only one copy of each card is allowed in your deck. So I think elites are very important in this format. What do you guys think?
Oh, for
For
sure.
sure.
You can already, in normal form, only have one copy of those, so we're gonna see a lot of them.
Yeah, and it's also very hard to play anything other than control, which is complete opposite to the pure war format. Because in singleton decks, it's really like, say you're trying to build Dragro with a singleton deck, it's so hard just to get enough one drops to make that anywhere close to consistent. So you often find these very, very heavy decks. And it might even come down to just who makes their deck heavier.
Oh yeah, for sure. And I'm like you mentioned before, probably gonna see a lot of Britain here.
Mm-hmm.
I'm expecting like Britain US personally. That's because you can get there's just a lot of options of ramp. You can just have one copy of each card and you can still ramp a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And British control is just very powerful. Even if you only have one copy of each card, you can still go quite the ways.
Yeah. I mean, if you look at a normal Britain control deck, probably 15 cards of the deck are elites anyways, without
And stuff.
restrictions, so it just sort of fits up nicely.
Now, would there be any other kind of deck, I wonder though, that they would bring in the singleton? Trying to give some thought, because again, aggro here just will fall short. It really relies on having multiple of the same unit.
So for Team Greece, Kowalski is playing again. And for Team Ukraine, Vadim is having his first match here today.
All right. I feel like Britain and USA are quite strong, but there's definitely interesting things you can do with Soviets. With I mean, if you're spending 8 credits for 2/5/5 tanks and aggro isn't really an issue, that's huge board presence.
That is huge. And again, the Soviets as well also have a lot of strong elites, because when you run Soviets, it's like almost doesn't matter what format other than tokens. You are always going to just be stacking all those elites because the Soviets have such powerful elites, in my opinion.
Yeah, for sure. Although, not too surprisingly, we will be seeing a Britain mirror match.
Here we go. And with we can see the U.S. ally from Vadim, but we'll see what. But I expect U.S. ally from Kowalski as well.
Yeah, I think so.
So true mirror match here.
This might take some while.
We're gonna be here for a minute. But
Sure.
that's me. I do prefer though. I genuinely do enjoy the matches that go to like until both players are out of cards. I enjoy those matches a lot. So, unfortunately, here from his matches he's chosen, I didn't think he had too many good options there.
So Sunderland is pretty good, I think. His opponent does have Rav and Mosquito, which makes it quite bad, but he has no way of knowing that.
Right. So
I mean, in a singleton format, his opponent probably doesn't have too many planes. And knowing that he's in the control mirror, I think it's reasonable to just pick the card with the highest cost here.
Yeah, what's gonna hold out in the long game? Because neither of these players are playing. They're not really playing the early game. They're just drawing cards, ramping. Just hey, let's skip the early game. Let's get to the mid and late game as fast as possible. Choosing daylight bombing does negate a credit slot, but right back at the hour of need. 2 credit slots now.
And it looks like Fadim has like a little bit of a bomber sub-theme in his deck with the oh, what's the 4-cost card in his hand called? That
The
deals
Empire
damage.
Strikes.
Empire Strikes, that's the one. So that with the Sunderland and the HMS Illustrious could be like a pretty potent board clear.
That is just pretty much a match of carpet bombing.
Yeah.
I see Mosquito coming out, taking out the Hellcat. Does not want that thing getting any sort of buffs.
This is a pretty awkward turn here. You don't want to Wrath a Mosquito because then he's just getting more value. If you Mosquito his Mosquito, then he gets to trade a 4-1 into your 4-4. But I think that's probably what he has to do.
Yeah,
You can't just let it attack into the bomber either. I mean, you could, but you really don't want to.
not the
And I think
best.
he might overdraw if he does that too.
It's gonna be scary when you only have 1 copy of each card. Overdrawing means, yeah, overdrawing is a lot more scary when you only have 1 copy of each card.
Oh, what is that turn?
Oof.
And then Mark 5.
Now he's
feel
just
off.
feeding the Avenger. Is he even going for Avenger? Yeah, I'm not sure.
Either Avenger or
He
Bounce.
is. He is going for it. I mean, it's just developing his board here. Suddenly 2 4-tag units on the board.
Yeah.
And both units are ones you don't want to be bouncing because they have such powerful deployment effects.
But now Vadim can attack into one of them and play the Mosquito. That was a play he could not do last turn, since he only was at 6 credits.
Seeing here. Oh, he just drew its research. We're going to the late game. That's definitely going to be playing a huge factor.
Vadim does have Ultra, which is, of course, very useful against research.
Oh, yeah. And I'm also expecting to see doubting as well. Because, again, when you're expecting... I'm pretty sure they were expecting this mirror match. Just, being so powerful in this format that maybe they're preparing for they're preparing for the mirror match.
Ooh,
and
playing
that's
that.
a unit. That is one unit that is so powerful, but does not see a lot of play. Just giving all your units, British or not, +2 defense. I think it's a strong unit.
Yeah, I agree.
A bit underrated.
In some situations, it's just so powerful, giving all your units +1 health. I think it's not fitting into a lot of decks.
See a Monty here, just pinning everything.
He's also having a shelling left, so...
If we wanted to, those troops or those units are not moving for quite the minute.
He is using the Ultra now, so as long as he doesn't research, as long as Kowalski doesn't research first, then that will be, something that he doesn't have to worry about. There's still a possibility of doubting, but it'll certainly help.
Yeah, there you go.
Wow.
I think that's the best option he had there.
He
was for
it, right?
sure predict. Yeah. Like he even went for +1 credit on 10. Like there's no way
Rather
that
than the bounce.
I mean, I think he should have gone for the bounce just in case his opponent was like faking or just actually had nothing to play, but
Blackwatch hitting, what is that, 5 orders? That's it's always a beauty to watch.
yeah, that makes his makeshift carpet bombing a lot worse.
A lot worse.
Yeah.
Especially because I'm pretty sure he had in mind to use it with the HMS.
Yeah.
and it's
I know that's an 11
11 crit.
cost. Yeah.
Oh boy. The shelling here is kind of, yeah, there you go. Because now he's unable to deploy in units, but I don't think Kowalski minds that. He might just research because he sees that there's only one credit. He does not have to worry about doubting. So,
Yeah, probably just develop research twice. Makes sense. I mean, you can't deploy units. The carpet bombing doesn't do anything. So.
and he's going for the advanced.
Mhm.
You're going for active sonar, huh?
I can either act, yeah, Bletchley,
I don't see
unfortunately, is
Bletchley
just
here.
not,
With
especially with Bletch. That's the unfortunate, that one change to it, and Bletchley just kind of not that strong. Or, like,
yeah, I think it's completely useless at the moment. Especially in late game, you don't want to bounce only options that are costing 5 or less. You want to have the big units from the board, I guess. Because with Bridge, you always also have carpet bombing and stuff like that to get rid of smaller units. So why would you make Bletchley only remove small cards? I don't see the reason for that.
Yeah, that was an unfortunate change. Because now you don't see anyone going for it. I personally, when I play with research, I'd like to go for the synthetic rubber.
I think it's a good change. I've still seen people go for it from time to time, but it's not like you necessarily win on the spot every time when you use it.
Here comes the active sonar. Wow. There's a 10 cost mobilization, 10 cost we can do it. The match, wow, this is just expensive here. Redeem, and from what I don't think he's played a single ramp card.
Now his combo costs 17.
8 credit HMS.
He's getting the one.
Reminds me a little bit of the match yesterday. What was it? Darkness versus Patriarch? Oh no, it was somebody else. Where Darkness just continuously going face with the Lancaster, making that La Decima always running away from the current credit limit, so he could not deploy it next turn. It always was 1 credit more expensive than it would have been needed to deploy it. That was hard
so
to
funny.
watch. Oh,
It must have been so frustrating.
so
You
frustrating.
can finally play it.
I've been on the receiving end of a Lancaster like that before, and it does not feel fun.
Not good. I had the Uran project just to save me because I was already losing, and yeah, I got hit by a Lancaster and did 13 credits. It was, yeah, from there it was GG. But here,
So Vadim is running some ramp, which we did not know until now.
we see single war bond at the moment, which I expect to see the War Machine and an Hour of Need. But
Or he could just push 4 damage to his opponent's HQ. Wait, oh, he can do that anyways.
yeah.
He could have pushed an additional 3 if he wanted to. And if he pushed an additional 3, that would have set up lethal actually. Like, I mean, it wouldn't be lethal because Kowalski has a lot of answers in his hand, but
Right. But in his eyes, it would have been lethal because he doesn't know what he's rocking. And we're seeing a shelling here, just stopping all the units, slowing down the momentum, and getting rid of the credit slot that he gave himself. Oh, and he pushed the Surrey regiment into the monster.
that is rough.
Not unable to deploy anything, which yeah, we can.
And I think he has to weaken do it here to protect his units against carpet.
Yeah, I mean, his opponent only has 1 carpet, so it's not completely insane to not play around it if you feel really strapped in your situation. But yeah, I think it's good versus just like developing the research.
So as it stands right now, but team's gonna have this trade here with the bomber into the M4A1. I wonder if Kowalski's gonna do something about it. And I think we're
He
gonna see it
will.
right here. Yep. Just denying your opponent those optimal trades.
Mhm. Although, in denying the optimal trade, he uses not the greatest carpet bombing of all time.
That is true. But probably in his eyes, he sees that the
Yeah.
units got buffed. He doesn't want them to stay on the board as much longer than they need to stay.
Yeah.
Just
I
soften them up.
certainly think it's a reasonable play to go for. I'm just also sort of saying, like, now Vadim doesn't have to play around carpet, you know?
Yeah, no, that's true.
He's got a lot more options.
And that's what we're seeing here.
We're
Team going
seeing a
wide.
comeback here, despite both the Blackwatch and the active sonar.
And notably, this is setting up lethal because of the research in Vadim's hand.
Oh yeah,
Into
correct.
synthetic rubber.
Yeah.
I feel like the Rule Britannia that Kowalski just drew would have been way more useful earlier.
Absolutely. Don't want to do this on one unit. Can do it
And
on
there's
2.
what will be the play here.
I mean, he's probably looking to just develop his board as much as he can to set up for Rule Britannia. Yeah, so that makes sense.
Guarding up.
No, Vadim is finding all of his RAM cards.
Mm.
I mean, at least he can go to 14 now.
He could.
Makes it also possible that he can drop his Manchester and drop the precision bombing from it in one turn. Not do this at the moment.
I wonder how he's probably gonna do that to take care of these Grenadier guards, because I'm not seeing any of the other answers in his hand at the moment. And everything else is just way too expensive.
Is it the
I
ramp?
mean,
Drop the privateer or what? What is the? Or is he
he
going
could
for
trade
synthetic
with
rubber?
he could trade with the Wrath into Mosquito and then play his board clear if he somehow had the insight into Rule Britannia, but you know, of course he doesn't know that. And he even maybe shouldn't think that his opponent has it because, you know, it wasn't played earlier when Kowalski had a larger board.
And Sexton here, we're seeing. I wonder if he can't play Sexton and then Rule Britannia.
No, but he could play Honey.
Honey into what's it called,
Rule
Lend-Lease.
Britannia, I mean. Just get Rule Britannia on 4 units. I mean, it would be pretty huge. Be very hard to come back. But it'll also be hard for him to come back if he plays Sexton on the Privateer.
He's done his trading. Now what will he do here? Okay, yeah, the Honey Lend-Lease combo.
Okay.
Yeah, because there are 2 fighters sitting in a support line. Kowalski has not to be afraid that the what is it called? Privateer doing any face
Yeah, the
damage there.
Privateer. Yeah, he doesn't have to worry about that at the moment.
Well, he can clear both planes right now and then trade with his bomber. Yeah, looks like he's looking at that line.
Yeah.
So nice that he's including us in his thought process, isn't it?
Right.
I really
Yeah.
like it.
Giving time for commentary.
Yeah.
If I'm Vadim, I'm not too worried about the Honey right now, because he can get the health. He already played the Lend-Lease.
Ooh.
Oh, wow.
Ooh, face. Bold.
Yeah, I mean synthetic rubber. Oh no, because of the honey. Synthetic rubber is not lethal.
Is synthetic rubber only on a British unit or no?
No, it's
No,
any
it's on any unit.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
It was Rule Britannia, which is only on British units.
Right. Right.
And also we're seeing a fortification here, so
You'd
as
think
well.
after playing this game so long, I'd know these things.
Yeah, but there's so much you have to remember that at some
So
point.
many cards. Ooh.
Oh,
Oh man.
we can do it.
That's,
So if Greece is going to win this today, I think they won because of all these we can do it.
that's MVP card.
Yeah.
Oh. I feel like my Deep's Blackwatch coming way too late. If he were to play right now, he's only gonna hit 2 orders and neither of those well. The one to Rule Britannia might hurt a bit, but the fortification Kowalski does not mind. And especially when he has the Pioneer Company established.
I'm honestly surprised to see fortification from Kowalski because, like as we said, it's really difficult to play aggro decks in this format.
And I worry too much about the at least in this situation, I wouldn't be worried too much about the health. And we're seeing just
Yeah.
synthetic rubber onto ooh, and seeing it on the C4 Highlanders. Trading out the Grenadier Guards. But that's Saxon, they're putting in some work on not letting the privateer move.
It's looking like it might just be a synthetic rubber turn. Like he'd be able to full clear his opponent's board, or how much damage could he push face? 9, 6. So 15. Is that lethal with the M18? Because that would cost
You're talking about Rule
10
Britannia.
to do. Oh, he's 1 mana short of lethal, Kowalski. Because if he played Rule Britannia and then attacked for 16 with his Sexton and his Honey, and then he played the M18 Hellcat, then he would have lethal. But he was just 1 credit short.
We're gonna see the 10 credit mobilization right here. Because the units that are really threatening here just ignore guards, so not too much point to playing a guard. The Manchester.
I think he has to get rid of that Lancaster there.
He has to.
Makes sense.
Or that Saxon, I don't know. The bigger threat here.
Surprised he didn't play Pioneer Company first. Just to set it up for the next turn, but
Get it out there.
yeah.
Oh, we see it doubting.
Doubting. So no draw from that mobilization. That might be 10 credits to the trash can.
That's gonna be the saddest thing I've ever seen. We see the Kitty Hawk, Rule Britannia. God, I love that new visual effect for cards like that. Like Admiral Hip or what other cards
That's
do.
lethal, guys.
There it is, lethal. I got distracted by the pretty water that here we have. Greece taking
Greece
it 3-1.
winning today's match 3-1, exactly. So you guys have been correct. Kowalski did some good analysis. Bringing his camera. I just read camera here in my OBS. Bringing his team and also his teammates done a lot. So well played there from Greece. Congrats, 3-1. This means that Greece is rank 1 now in Group A. Rank 1, Greece. Rank 2, France. Cool. So, how would you summarize today's matches, guys? I think it was way more different deck types than we saw yesterday, because yesterday it was just Alpine, and a little bit of US, and that's it. Today I think it was really mixed, right?
It was very mixed, and a very interesting choice to see a lot of 2 players bringing artillery. That was definitely like the
So was this maybe a fault?
Be
Because I
surprised.
lost both matches with it.
I didn't think it was the right choice personally. Just it hasn't been in the meta for a while. Maybe they were thinking they wouldn't expect it and they're prepared for it, but you know, there's a reason why it's not meta anymore, and we just saw that reason.
Yeah, the decks were more interesting to see, but I think also less effective overall.
Yeah.
But I mean, maybe we'll see them, take the same decks into Alpine. Maybe they've done some play testing and figured out that, hey, like this can actually be pretty good.
Maybe they were expecting Alpine. Which strange to see. We didn't really see Alpine. Like we saw the Berg Pioneers, they gave the +1 credits up, but we didn't really see like
Yeah, we did not
any
see one
Alpine
single
play.
Alpine deck today.
Yeah.
Very interesting. Okay, yeah, very cool. And I think you and Chat agreed to me. You both did a fantastic job today. Very cool to have you here. Thanks a lot for your participation. I'm sure we will see you two again if you are interested and willing to help out here. Would be highly appreciated.
All right, well, thanks for having us.
Tomorrow's match, we will have... What do we have tomorrow? China versus USA. Oh my god.
That's powerful.
That sounds
Heavy
like...
hitters.
That could be the finals, right?
We can be seeing a little pre-motion into the finals. That's
Wait. How could that be the finals? Canada's not there.
Gotcha. Okay,
I
that's an
respect it.
argument.
He's got to defend himself.
So yeah, really looking forward to that. So, and that's it for today, guys. Again, thank you both for being here. Thank you, chat guys, for tuning in and watching. We are at 100 viewers, guys. Perfect. And yeah, hopefully we see each other tomorrow. Stay healthy and good luck on the battlefield. Bye-bye.